How's it going, everybody? Andrew here, owner of The Arena, where I help people break into tech sales and get really, really good at sales. So today we're going to talk about why you're not able to break in. You're trying, you heard about it, it sounds cool, and you're struggling. It's tough. It's tough to get in. So here's likely the situation, okay? You heard about sales, right? It sounds really cool, and apparently you can make a lot of money. So you start doing some research, and you realize of all the things you could sell, tech sales is the best thing you could get into. Now, why is that? Well, because you figured out that in tech sales you can make the most money. That's pretty cool. Why do you think you can make the most money in tech sales? Because you are selling really, really, really expensive stuff. Multi-million-dollar deals to some of the biggest companies in the world. So you realize that the bigger and more complex the problem you solve, the more money you can make. Because big companies are willing to pay really big money if you can solve their biggest problems. All right? Tech sales pays so well because you tend to solve very big problems for very big companies. Big companies pay big money to solve big problems. Okay? All right. So that's the situation. You realize it's cool. You're fired up, and you're like, let's try this. So what are you doing? Well, you're pumped to break into sales. You start reaching out to friends who might be in tech sales and hear about some of the awesome lifestyle they have, the money they make, the work-life balance, blah, blah, blah. Sounds awesome, right? Cool. Or if you don't really know anyone, you start reaching out to people on LinkedIn and learning more about what tech sales is all about and how to get in. Also cool. So the people you're talking to are probably account executives, maybe some business development representatives that are a little bit more senior in their tech sales career. And they're probably either telling you how you will not be able to get in without experience, or how they would be happy to refer you for an open role that is maybe more junior. All right, so let's talk about scenario one. They say, look, man or woman, you just don't have experience. You can't get in. I'm sorry. You need to go work at Target or be a mailman. This is a lie. Yes, you might not have experience selling in tech sales, carrying a quota, but that doesn't mean you can't break in. There's people that break in all the time. I've personally helped hundreds of people break into tech sales. So you can break in. That's why this channel exists, is to help people break in. So do not believe that lie, first of all. Scenario number two is the AE is telling you how you probably couldn't break in as an AE, but maybe they could get you in as a junior salesperson, maybe a business development representative or a sales development representative. Okay, that doesn't sound too bad. Why don't we give that a shot? So they offer to refer you and you accept their offer. You say, yeah, that'd be great. Or if they don't offer to refer you, you just go apply anyways, right? Either way, you accept their referral offer or you just go apply on your own. At the end of the day, you go to their careers page and you slam that apply button. You refine your resume as best you probably can, right? You add a cover letter. I mean, it looks really good. You're pretty proud of this application. Right. So one of the biggest challenges here is when you accept these referrals and apply, you are putting your name in the hat and you're hitting the apply button and it's going to a large, think like a mail room, where you drop an envelope into a slot and it dumps down a chute into this giant bucket, huge bucket, and thousands of envelopes are dropped into this huge bucket, right? Your application is one of hundreds or thousands that just dropped into a huge bucket. There's systems that recruiters have to vet applications as they come in, but those systems are likely not your friend. Right? Because those systems look for things like experience in the field or experience in the role you're applying for. So a lot of times what happens is you hit the apply button, even though you got a referral, and you still get a pleasant rejection email. Sometimes a referral will guarantee that your application actually gets seen by a recruiter. It doesn't necessarily guarantee you'll get an interview, but it typically guarantees that it'll get seen by a recruiter. But even then, you have to understand what a recruiter's job is. A recruiter's job is to disqualify people. It is to get the most qualified people in front of the hiring managers. And when you have 100 applications, and you come across one that looks on paper like they're completely disqualified because they have no experience in sales, you're probably going to take that application and put it aside. And aside means the trash, the garbage, right? So you are qualified for this role. It's just the way you're going about getting it doesn't work. So you end up either getting a pleasant email, thank you for applying, but they're going in a different direction, or you do get a phone screen or even an interview, and then you end up getting that pleasant email thanking you for your time, letting you know they're going in a different direction. Okay? So why is that? Typically, if you don't get the interview at all, you just get that pleasant email, it's typically because you don't have the experience, and they see that and they're like, "What? Let's not even waste our time on this person." Okay? Now, sometimes they're willing to take a shot. They see maybe some things on your resume that they like, and they're like, "You know what? Let's give this person a shot." They'll give you an interview, and then at that point, you can no longer blame not getting the job on lack of experience. You can't, because they gave you a shot. They gave you an interview. Now, the only reason you wouldn't get the job is because you suck at interviewing. Let's just call it what it is. If you got to the interview stage and then got told no, it's because you bombed the interview in some way, shape, or form. Now, you might know why, or what you did, or what you said, or what you didn't do, or what you didn't say, but at the end of the day, they gave you a shot, and you didn't do well in the interview, and they said thanks, but no thanks. And so those are typically the two scenarios that happen. Rarely, but also does happen, you get the job. You figure it out in the way, and you get the job. But more often than not, most people are experiencing one of these two scenarios. You get rejected at the application level, or you get rejected at the interview level. Okay? So here's a quick summary of what we talked about so far. You either walk away from the role, or you accept the referral. When someone says, hey, you don't really have the experience. If you accept the referral, you're either going to get told no and not get an interview, or you could get an interview and then later on get told no, or you could get the job. But most people aren't getting the job, right? That's what's frustrating. Either way, the odds are against you and it's not working and you're getting really frustrated. So let's talk about specifically why this isn't working, right? So it's because sending a resume and applying online just doesn't work. I'm saying that largely, like I'm making a huge general statement here. I'm sure there are some people it's worked for, but by and large, for the majority of people, it's not working. Why? Because there's just too many people applying for the jobs that do have the experience and they look much, much better on paper, so they're getting the nudge for an interview. They just are. Why else? So let's assume you do get the interview. You get the interview, you still aren't getting the job because you're not good at interviewing. And you likely don't know how to get good at interviewing for a sales style interview. And so there's just a lot working against people that have zero experience in sales and trying to break in on their own, right? So what do you do instead? Sign up for the arena. That's what we do. We help people break in. So go to arena.vet. It's free. Sign up. Act as if you already are in sales and pursue the job you would like any other sales opportunity. So what we want you to do is act as if, put your sales hat on, you are the product you're selling, right? You're the service. And you need to sell yourself to a hiring manager who's also the decision maker. The hiring manager is essentially is the person who would be your future boss. So anytime someone is hiring for a role, they're hiring for someone typically on their own team, right? If you are a manager of salespeople, you have like 6 salespeople on your team, and you have an open role for one more, so where you're trying to have 7, you are the person that's responsible for hiring for that role. So you're the hiring manager. As a hiring manager, you're ultimately the decision maker in most cases. You also typically have to have the person you're interviewing interview with other stakeholders, whether it's their boss or their boss's boss. But the idea is that at the end of the day, it's largely your decision on who gets the hire. Okay? That's the person you, as the job seeker, need to sell. And how do you do that? You need to make sure that you have an incredible value proposition on why you'd be a great fit for their role, right? It's going to require you to do a lot of research. It's going to require you to understand the problems that company solves, and specifically the problems that they're solving in that territory. Who are the customers they're serving? What does their ideal client look like? When are they buying? Why are they buying? If you do win business with them, you need to understand all these nuances about why they're buying your services and your solutions, right? You also need to talk to future peers and understand what is it that's making the best reps here successful. So you take all this information, and then you have to develop a proposition or a perspective and deliver it to the hiring manager on why you'd be a good fit. And so all this takes time, it takes skill, it takes some persistence. There's conversations that need to be had. You have to know what questions to ask. But when you do it this way, your chances of success just skyrocket. We're seeing people get interviews inside of 2-3 weeks when they approach it with intentional networking. All right? And so if you want to learn more, I'm going to add a link to the video where I talk more specifics about how to go get a job in tech sales with no experience. I lay it down for you. And then obviously the training at arena.vet is free. Go there, apply, and we also link you up with employers who are looking to hire people with a non-traditional background. All right? Cool. Have a good one.